You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good Monday morning, everybody. We're back, and I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network from Monday, August 18th, episode 3756, brought to you today by WERM Flooring. Good morning, horse people.
I have good news and bad news for you on this Monday morning. First, the bad. It's Monday. But the good news is really good. Jamie and Glenn are here to guide you through another week filled with horse talk and a whole lot of fun. Welcome to Horses in the Morning.
Well, we're so glad you're joining us on this Monday morning, and we're glad to be back together again. Jamie was where it was cool, and I was where it was hot, and we're going to talk more about that coming up in the show today. We actually don't have any guests today. It's just us. We're going to catch up on Jamie's vacation and what's going on with the horses at the farm. I'm going to share some observations from the trade show, and our listeners have some That Girl moments we're going to go over. Plus, I did a poll in the auditor room that we want to chat about a little bit today. And then in the auditor post show, we're going to talk about a watershed moment for podcasting that happened last week. All coming up on today's show. But before we start the show, all of us at Horses in the Morning are sending our thoughts and prayers to Lisa Wysocki, who you know hosts this show on a regular basis when we're out. And you've heard many, many stories about her amazing mom. Remember how she goes to the track all the time, and she's an institution at the racetrack up there, and she was quite a character. Well, she passed over the weekend at the age of 102. She, this woman led an incredible life. I was texting with Lisa over the weekend. She had just gotten home to Tennessee and then found out her mother was sick and had to head back up north to Minnesota?
Yes.
Minnesota, had to head back to Minnesota. And she said she was very busy yesterday, obviously, with calls and neighbors coming over and things like that. But she said, her mom had led an incredible life. Last weekend, they were at the track again. So,
bless her heart.
I mean, she lived for going to the track, and she got to go to the track with Lisa last weekend, and Lisa got to spend a lot of time with her over the last couple of months. So I think Lisa was in a pretty good place. She kind of knew this one was coming. But our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family, and Lisa, we love you, and we loved your mom. I felt like I knew the woman,
right?
Because I'd never met her, but Lisa would talk about her all the time on the show with you and I both. And I just felt like I knew her. So we're thinking about her at this time. But I wish I could lead a life to close to 102, right? I mean, all of us wish we could get to anywhere close to that and still be as spunky as Lisa's mom was.
Yeah.
So
no, that's the whole thing is like, if you can live to 102, but live the way you want to live until 102.
And she did.
And she did.
She did. So anyway, that's a bit of news that was kind of sad over the weekend that I saw, but Lisa's up there handling things, and I know there'll be a service soon. All right, let's do some daily Whinnies. No auditor birthdays. And I want to say, if I missed your birthday last week, I tried to get them all on the last show we did, but if I missed it, happy birthday to you. I'm sorry I missed it. So we don't have any auditor birthdays today or tomorrow, but we do have a couple of auditors with new horses. Auditor Elizabeth got her first horse at the age of 61. She said she felt like a kid with a new pony.
TD.
Isn't that cool? Bella,
let's do it.
Bella, she got a horse named Bella, and it's a Morab. And also, Auditor Alicia got a new horse. I don't know anything. That's all she posted, and she posted a picture. So congratulations to the both of you. I think it's so cool.
I'm sure it's super pretty.
It is. And I just thought that getting her first horse at 61 was kind of special.
I love everything about that. It makes me so happy.
I know. It's never too late to start, right? So
yeah, amen, brother. I have a new friend, and it's interesting the way that I met my new friend. Her name is Zoe, and I was at the Kentucky 3-Day back in April, and I'm now a Pulse PEMF certified practitioner, right? So I have the Pulse machine and I do it all. And there were some accessories that I was looking at for purchase. And there's always a Pulse PEMF booth at the Kentucky 3-Day. So I go into the Pulse booth and I'm looking around and stuff. And the people are like, where are you from? And I said, oh, I live in Oklahoma. Oh, really? Zoe lives in Oklahoma. And she's like a big up at Pulse. And so she comes over and we start talking and she's like, where do you live? And I said, oh, I'm in Norman. She's like, I'm in Norman too. And I said, oh, that's cool. And she goes, I live right behind the so-and-so barbecue joint on Highway 9. And I was like, I'm about a mile from there. So all of this crazy giant horse world comes just funneling down till I'm standing in the Pulse booth and there's somebody who lives a mile from me in Oklahoma while we're standing in Kentucky. And so we met, and she's come out a couple times and helped me with like some continuing education for Pulse PEMF. And she came out this weekend and she's like, I've been looking for a place to ride. I'm like, ride that one. He's fat. Like, ride this one, ride that one. There's plenty of horses. And she's a lovely rider. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you, and I'm sure she's going to hear this later, because while she was here, Chad said something about my podcast, and she's like, you have a podcast? And I'm like, no.
No,
So,
I used to do that. I don't do that anymore.
I think I'm toast. But I will tell you that she, as an eventer, and somebody who has their own barn, who trains horses, but when I'm by myself and I don't, you have to make choices with your time when you own your own barn. And it is, are the horses going to get worked, or is my tack going to get cleaned and the barn aisle going to be perfect? You know what I mean? And my leanings are towards getting the horses worked and maybe not so much cleaning tack and things like that. I mean, good Lord, I clean the horses' water troughs every day, but run a sponge over my bit? What are you talking about?
We always said when we were running the boarding stable, you're so busy running the boarding stable, you don't have time to ride.
Yeah,
right?
Well, and so because of that, I've taken the opposite kind of angle towards it, which is horses come first. The horses getting work comes first.
Sweeping the aisle comes second.
Yeah. Like we're into that. But Zoe, bless her heart, she's a hunter jumper and I'm an eventer. Oh, like she grew up in that. And ironically, she's from Atlanta originally and grew up showing at Wills Park, which is where I grew up showing. Now I'm a few years past her in the growing up showing, but we grew, I mean, it's crazy. We have the same car. Like it's crazy. She's me 20 years ago. Right. But I will say that did she roll she's
her
so
eyeballs? Clean.
She's so clean, and she shows up and she's got her face perfectly made up. She looks beautiful. Her clothes match. There's like right now I'm sitting here. I poulticed a horse's leg and I have a smear of poultice up my shirt from my belly button to my boobs. Like it's just, that's how I live. And she's a hunter, and like she puts on her hat.
Hold that thought. I had a couple people in the last week ask me why we don't do video, because everybody's doing video for the podcast now. I said, that's why, right there. What you just said. I said we'd have to pay Jamie 5 times what we do to get her to do video.
You can't pay me enough to, I mean, I don't have time. I don't have time for that. I mean, literally Chad walked in and he's like, did you have some trouble down there? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, look at your shirt. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, it's all over my hands too. I've been picking it out of my fingernails while we're sitting here talking. So it's fine. But Zoe's so pretty and she looks so nice and her tack is so clean and she puts on a hairnet before she rides, and then it just makes me feel like crap. I'm like, oh my God, I look homeless out here. I'm a disaster. So anyway, Zoe has been helping me with Pulse, and I do appreciate it. And thank you very much. And we just did a really cool, she just put together this video of me working the racehorse and then pulsing him. And so that's going to be the Pulse PEMF advertising. So go to the Pulse PEMF Facebook page or their socials or whatever and follow it, and you'll see a really cute video. I think it comes out at the beginning of September. That's like their month marketing. That's going to be me and Mazuma out there getting it done. And Mazuma has a little voice and he talks in it. It's super cute. So anyway, that is what my daily wind is for. Thanks to Zoe for being too pretty and making me feel bad and coming out and riding my fat horses.
When she starts sweeping your aisle, you'll know that. Yes.
Listen, it's worm flooring. You don't have to sweep it. You just blow it, Zoe.
So when we left, or before we left for our break last week, you were going on vacation. I was doing the trade show. We didn't know where you were going.
Yeah.
It was going to be it was a mystery up until the very end. So where'd you end up?
I prefer to live my life with an ulcer. So
Yes.
What we did was we looked at all of the flights, and I knew I wanted to go somewhere cooler than it is here.
Then Dallas,
So-
where I was at 100 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only at 2 hours up the road from you, my friend. It is not any better up here. So I was like, we're going north. I don't care where it is. And I was like, maybe we go to Vancouver. Maybe we go to Montana. We can go to Maine. I wanted to go to Michigan. Anything up top. So we had kind of like those 4 picks, and we were watching the flights, and then we got to the airport and went to the board and looked up, and we're like throwing darts basically of like what's colder, what has open seats, because we can fly anywhere for free being employees of American Airlines as long as American flies there and as long as there's empty seats.
Which is the hard part now, empty seats.
Yes, it is very hard. And so we actually made the very first flight of the day. Now, I will tell you that Chad is able to sit in the cockpit, and it was like a tiny plane, and he basically has to fold down one of those seats from the wall in the cockpit with his knees in the captain's back, and sit on this like 8x8 little thing where he's straight up against the wall. So his flight was not that comfortable. Mine, however, was fine. So we ended up going to Montana. So Montana I was like, let's go to, of course, and I'm trying to plan what we're going to do in Montana when we're on the runway to fly to Montana. And I'm like, got to rent a car. Boop. I went to Costco, rental travel stuff, and rented a car. Okay. And I can't do it till we're like, they say you're never good until they push back and turn. They can push back and pull back forward. That's happened to us before. So push
Did they
back
take
and
you off
turn.
the plane?
Yes.
Because somebody else
we got
shows up that
taken.
paid?
Yeah, that happened like years ago in Arizona. So we're never secure until we've pushed back and turned. So then I'm like renting a car in the as we're taxiing out, there's a long taxiway in Dallas. So we're taxiing out of, but we're into a car. Okay, so we are flying to Bozeman, Montana, and we get there like
Which sounds
afternoon.
like one of the prettiest places on earth.
It is, but it is Yellowstoned out as far as the show. And Bozeman used to be like and I'm only hearing this from locals, right? But like it used to be a really nice, like kind of Western Montana town. And now it's basically like going to Santa Barbara, Like we were out for dinner, and there's like wedding parties and bachelorette parties and all sorts
it's
of
all the
drunk
Yellowstone
people all
effect.
over the streets. Yeah, and everybody's wearing a cowboy hat and high heels, So it's not a bunch of cowboys out partying, okay? So we stayed there for one night, but then we were like, let's go to Yellowstone and just the actual, park. So we drive down to Yellowstone. We stayed in a town called Gardner, and we stayed there for a couple nights. And then we wanted to go even smaller. And so we went to a town called Livingston and stayed there for a night. It was just kind of like, where else can we go? Like, we're in Bozeman. It's too big. Let's go smaller. We went to Gardner. Too big. Like, let's go smaller. We went to Livingston, and Livingston was wonderful, and I loved it. And I did buy a cowboy hat there. So we had a great time, walked around, went around the park. Like the first day we drove around the park, and it was like a 10-hour day of driving and like getting out of the car and looking at bubbling springs and then trying to find a buffalo on the ridge, trying to see everything. And then the second day, you know, I said it was kind of like I wanted to go to Alaska and just go fly fishing and stand in a river. So we were in Montana, and I was like, I want to go fly fishing in a river, and I want to stand in my up to my waist and like cast out and fly fish for whatever I can catch. I don't care if I catch a stick. I just want to catch something, or just I don't even care if I catch anything. I just want to stand out in the river because for some reason, you guys are going to be shocked, but my mind is not quiet very often. So that is like the one time, it's the one thing I've found that my mind is completely silent, because fly fishing, you have to focus on what you're doing. And by the way, I did cast back. I'm a terrible fly fisher, and I hooked my earlobe.
I was just going to ask you who you hooked.
I hooked me. Lucas hooked the guide. I hooked me. Chad didn't hook anybody. He's like really good at it, of course. But like,
it looks hard.
Yeah, it's hard. And he's like, why is your ear bleeding? And I'm like, I'm really embarrassed to tell you. But like that girl moment, I hooked my own ear. God. And then I was like, and it's barbless fishing. So I'm like, it'll slide right out. It'll be fine. And so I'm trying to like unhook my ear.
Without anybody seeing, you're trying to hide it.
Without anybody seeing. And apparently I was told on because my ear like bled like So yes, I'm not amazing.
You were attracting bear with your ear bleed.
I know. Thank God there were sharks. I'm bleeding in the water. So we did catch and we had a great time.
Can I post a picture of you holding your fish?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. So
I'll use in the show notes.
Lucas caught the most, and he caught 4, and then Chad caught 1, and I caught 2. But I will tell you that I caught the biggest. And it's really cool because it's barbless hooking. So the hook slides in, it slides right back out. And then they're so amazing at, you know, there's no trash. We were there all day. There's nobody else for like miles and miles and miles. We hiked 2.5 miles to this river, which if you know me, you know how much I hated that. I wouldn't care. I'm like, I can't even carry a pole. Y'all, I'm going to fall. Like, this is a disaster. So we hiked 2.5 miles. I'm like, are we there yet? And then fished all day and then had to hike out. I'm exhausted. But it was super fun and my mind was real quiet. It was nice. So
Yay.
We had a great time and it was really fun. And like, I want to go back and fly fish in Livingston, and we've got the guy's phone number, and he's like, so I booked the night before. Like, I was like, hey, I would like to fly fish all day. And they were like, great. When would you like the reservation for? And I'm like, tomorrow. Okay. Let's see.
And so let me clarify this. You did this entire trip and there wasn't a horse involved?
Oh, we did see horses because the Yellowstone Ranch does do rides and stuff, but we watched them walk by and Chad's like, any interest? I'm like, no, it was like total nose to tail, people wearing shorts and flip flops, you know, like hunched over like a sack of potatoes. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm cool. Like, I'm cool. I was just in Colorado riding. I'm good. So first world problem is like, I'm sorry, it wasn't fancy enough riding for me, but we had a great time and I definitely want to go back. It was, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's the most beautiful place on earth. It's just incredible. So really fun.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time.
Thanks. And Dallas was good.
Yeah. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll get into my observations from the trade show, you know, what I found. Because Jennifer and I were trying to figure it out. We think this was our 36th or 38th trade show. So we've been a lot, but so we always have observations from what we've seen change over the years. But first, we have to talk about WERM flooring. It now does your trailer roof. Leaky roofs are a common problem in horse trailers and RVs. WERM flooring is a revolutionary silicone-based coating, creates a barrier against heat and wet. First, it seals your roof to stop the leaks before they start, and second, it reflects back nearly 90% of those nasty UV rays, keeping your trailer or barn up to 60 degrees cooler on a blistering day. So ditch the duct tape and the buckets. Invest in long-lasting peace of mind with Seal and Chill. It's applied by pros for a flawless finish, and it's only $7.50 per square foot. That's a steal for a cooler, drier, happier trailer or RV, which means happier horses and people. Head over to wormflooring.com to find a dealer near you. So, we went to what's called WESA, which is the Western English Sales Association. Jennifer hosts their podcast. They have a podcast that's meant for retailers. So this trade show is kind of on the Western side, and it's meant for wholesalers and manufacturers meet the retailers. So Jennifer actually hosts their podcast. And I do another show for them about running a retail business. So we're intimately involved with the WISA folks that run this show. And then there's another show at the same time called Ada, it's kind of the English version of WISA. WISA kind of covers the Western side. Ada covers the English side.
And these are where tax stores go to buy things to put in their store.
And yes, that is correct. And it's been interesting over the years. As I said, we've been going for 20 years or more. And it's been interesting to see, there's definitely less and less retailers than there was 20 years ago. Because as we know, little tax shops are closing up, right? So there's less little tax shops than there was before. Dover's building more and more stores, and then there's less tax shops. So it was interesting. I would say August show they do is not very busy, and then January show has a lot more buyers there. So it's always better for us to go to the August one because our goal is to talk to the stand holders. And we're putting out a special episode of the Wisdom by WISA show with a whole bunch of new products we found there. So I'll talk about that later when it comes out. So these are my observations. A ton of new baseball hat companies. There must have been 20, and I've never seen this at a show before, just baseball hats with all kinds of Western stuff on them.
I'm scarred by the hats, I told you.
Oh, baseball hats after baseball. And the booths were 22 booths, instead of little 10-foot booths, they were buying 20-foot booths. And they must have had 100 baseball hats in each. And there was at least 10 to 15 of these that I had never seen before. I don't know what happened with baseball hats became a thing. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I wear a baseball hat everywhere, so I love it. But
everybody always has. Why now? That's what I mean.
I know. Well, I will tell you that my husband, you guys, for those listening, be careful what you buy because my husband, sweet angel that he is, bought me a hat that had one of those Western type sayings on it. Mm-hmm. And I did not find it particularly funny, as I'm sure he did, but he bought me a hat that says, "Barn hair, don't care." I'm like, are you saying I look like crap all the time? Like, what?
I think it's particularly funny. I'm with him.
I know you do. It's not funny. Buy those hats for yourselves, okay? Barn hair, don't care. I'm like, what are you saying? What does this mean?
So the other...
I am covered in poultice right now, so it's fine, whatever. But it has to come from me.
So boot companies, cowboy boot companies. Oh my God. And I think this is a Yellowstone effect, to be honest. Cowboy hat companies and cowboy boot companies. But, there always were a lot of them. Now there's a ton of them. And it's just, how many cowboy boots are there in the world? Apparently a lot of different cowboy boots in the world.
I have 4 pairs, and they all have a different mood associated with them. I probably have more. It's fine.
It's crazy. And then cowboy hats. I mean, just one cowboy hat stand after another. And there were so many new ones. That's the thing. Every time we go now, there's new cowboy hat companies. How do you even break into that market? I don't know.
How do you create a new cowboy hat?
They look like the other cowboy hats to me. They all kind of look alike. But supplement companies. You and I talk about this all the time. Every time we go to a trade show, there's new supplement companies. And that's another one. I even asked the one guy, I said, how do you break into this kind of busy supplement market? There's so many companies. And he didn't have a good answer. So I don't know if he'll be back. No new tack companies. Tack was the most underrepresented thing at both Ada and WISA.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Just like
my favorite.
I didn't see any new tack anything. It was all baseball hats and boots and supplements and saddle pads. There's always new saddle pad companies too. But no new tack companies. There was a guy there who we tried to interview and he wasn't allowed to. He 24 years old, started his own work boot company, but he made them kind of look like cowboy boots a little bit. They were kind of a hybrid between a cowboy boot and a work boot. Made in the United States. 2 days before he goes to the show, it's just him. He started this company by himself. He maybe had 10 different style boots. Fox News calls him and says, we're doing this thing on entrepreneurs. He doesn't even know how they found him. We're doing this thing on entrepreneurs, and we want you to come on Fox News the next day. So he said, I had 1 day to prepare to go on Fox News. He said he's gotten 5,000 emails since he went a week ago. He can't
Oh my
handle
gosh.
it. And it's just him. He said, I'm going to handle the boot orders. So, but that again was kind of on the Western side. It was just, when we would go to Ada, you would come sometimes when we go to Ada, there were years where there were lulls in new products, right? And new innovation. I think we're kind of in one of those little lulls right now.
Okay.
And that goes cyclical. And that has to do with economy and everything else too. There's a lot of factors that go into that.
Well, did you buy yourself a baseball hat or some boots?
I got some free hats.
Okay.
So I did get some free hats, and I did want to also mention that we saw Smart Equine there, formerly Smart Pack, had a booth there, and their brand new podcast is out. So it's the Horse Health Cast. Episode 1 is out from Smart Equine. We're producing it, so it's on the Horse Radio Network. And if you just look for the Horse Health Cast, you'll find it, and it's a really good show that's going to be all horse health. Smart Pack knows a little bit about horse health, and the one host they have is their R&D person, is the research and development person for their supplements. So she's like super smart, but she runs a barn with 60 horses in Massachusetts. And
talk about not having time to ride.
I know. And she's the R&D person for Smart Pack, and she speaks in a way that I actually understood it. So, but she can get geeky too. But, the show is really good. They're going to take one topic each episode and talk, through that topic. So, I'm really excited that they're doing the show with us, and that is out. That first episode is out. We'll have them on hopefully next week.
Cool.
So we can chat with the hosts over there. But there's my observations. I just think we're in a little bit of a lull with innovation right now in the horse world. And that could have to do with tariffs, too. There was a lot of tariff talk.
Yeah.
Because these people have to deal with tariffs, directly. They're getting these items made in India or Europe or Australia or wherever. And, all the tariffs coming over. So, and the retailers have to deal with that, too. So both sides, the retailers and the wholesalers. So, it's a little inside talk, but it does affect the market. And I think sales are down a little bit right now. I think that'll be the next poll I'll do for the auditors, is I think people are not necessarily buying the things they want. They're buying the things they need right now. And that's showing up in the marketplace a little bit.
I'd go with that. I'm probably there.
Yeah, I think we are too. We're, when we're buying stuff for the farm now, it's do we need that or do we want that? That's the question we ask ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have said, yeah, I don't need it. And we just don't buy it. So whereas maybe a year or two ago, we would have just bought it and not even asked that question. So you and I can't be the only ones that are in that place right now. So anyway, that's where we're at. That's
cool.
Other than that, we didn't see any of Dallas, and I didn't have a steak. So we did fly into Love Field. I like that little airport. That's a nice little airport, actually. There's only 20 gates, so it makes it great. So let's talk about, you have some horse stuff to talk about.
Oh man, I had something really weird happen over the weekend. Like really weird. Like I'm a little embarrassed to talk about it, to be fair. Yeah. So, we have Craigslist Carl. And Craigslist Carl, we have a thing where we're like, Carl don't care. Like there's nothing that bothers that horse. He don't care. He's 20. He don't care. Nothing. I don't care. Whatever. So I get this.
If he was an old man, he'd be saying whatever he's thinking, and it doesn't matter.
He'd be sitting on the porch being racist and swearing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, he just doesn't care. He doesn't care. So we have the baby Butters, who I got from the Nurse Mare program. And so I've got baby Butters, and he's very young. And so I wanted him to have a safe, healthy friend to go out with. So I put Butters and Carl in a paddock together, and the paddock's like a whole, 2 acres. So they've got plenty of space, just the two of them roaming around. And then at night I leave them out and put all the other guys in little paddocks and let them go out in the whole pasture. So it was Saturday morning, and I walk out, and they're in the whole big pasture, and I see them way down below. I'm like, what are they doing? Now, one thing Carl does care about is food. So I can call Carl and he'll come up, and I whistle the same whistle while they're all eating. Horse training tip here. Whistle the same whistle while they're eating, and then you can whistle and they'll come up because they think they're going to eat again. It's like a Pavlov thing. So I whistle, he comes up to the barn, and I've got, to get the gates and stuff, and I I walk out and I'm like, what is happening right now? And I look out and Butters is nursing on Carl. And I was like, oh God.
I mean,
God.
I don't know a lot about that stuff, but doesn't he doesn't have the right parts, right?
No, he does not
I
have
don't
the
think
right
so.
parts. So I walk, I'm like,
my God.
oh God, what kind of weird, sick crap am I about to see? So I tiptoe out there not to disturb because I want to get a good view of what's happening here because there could be a lot happening here. And fortunately, he was just nursing on the side of the sheath, like the skin folds that are like, nice. I mean, because y'all know where my brain went. I was like, oh God. But he was nursing on the side of the sheath, like really sucking hard, nursing. And Carl didn't care. He's like, and he had been trying to nurse before. And Carl was like, don't touch me there. Don't. I think Carl just gave in. He's like, fine, I don't care. And so baby Butters is nursing on Carl's sheath and sucking on his sheath. So I'm immediately like, oh God, that has to stop. So I pull him apart and I put him in separate stalls. And I call my vet. And I'm like, Dr. Kim, what is happening? I just saw Carl nursing, Butters nursing on Carl, and he's a gelding. Like, what do I do? She was like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. And I was like, cool, I'm so glad I'm that girl. And I've got this new thing a vet's never seen. She goes, you know what you have to worry about? I was like, please tell me. She goes, you really need to watch Carl. He could get an infection from that. And I'm like, the last thing I was concerned about was Carl. Psychologically, my baby thinks a gelding is his daddy and is self-soothing.
Actually thinks it's his mommy.
Yeah, self-soothing by sucking on the side of his sheath. And she was like, well, he could get an infection from that. I'm like, I don't care about Carl. So I've been able to separate them, and
The thing is, you can't put them out with anybody.
I know. Well, here's the next piece in the puzzle is I know you're going to be shocked. I hope everybody's sitting down, but Groot came home. That's right. Groot went on a trial. I gave him to this child, and I was like, take him for a month. Make sure you like him.
How long did he last? How long did he last? Let me guess.
About
1 week.
6 days. 6 days. And I told him, I go, this is probably not going to work. This is too much horse for you. And he's too sensitive. And she's like transitioning from lesson horses to other horses. And I'm like, I don't want you to buy him. I want you to take him and just try him. So they took him and tried him. In 6 days, they send him back. So now
he's like a ping pong ball. He just keeps coming back.
Oh my God. For those playing at home, that's the fourth time this horse has been returned to me. So cool. He's just really, really difficult to ride. And he's very bouncy. He's not comfortable. He's kind of like on the ground. He's the sweetest thing in the world, but he can kind of get frantic when he introduced to new stuff. And so anyway, so now Groot has a job and he's out with Butters. And so far, no nursing has gone on. But now Carl has to be kicked out with the racehorses. So it's all super fun and exciting. Horses are fun. And you mentioned to me, like, before we were doing this, is like, you can't keep every horse. And I am not keeping every horse. So I wanted to give you guys an update on Maverick, who's a little buckskin horse that has been here. And I was using him to start horses and stuff, but I'm not starting horses anymore. So he's just been hanging out and I've been keeping him. Well, my best friend Larissa, who lives about 45 minutes from here, she has 2 boys and they're both 9 and they love horses. And so she is borrowing Maverick and letting her kids ride him. So
that's a perfect horse, Maverick, for a little boy.
I know, and they
best
love
name,
him
everything.
so much. They love him so much. I mean, he can't lope. He just walks around and trots a little bit here and there, but it's perfect for them. And I told her, I said, she's got a baby horse that she's starting. I did the first bit, but she's having problems with it going forward. So I'm like, just have your kids ride Maverick in front of you and follow Maverick. And that's working out great. So everybody's happy. So Maverick is currently on loan, perma loan or whatever. Like I said, they can give him back.
Well, he
whenever.
lasted more than 6 days, right?
Yes, he's been there for 2 months now, and
Okay.
they're still loving him. I get pictures all the time, and the kids loaded him in the trailer when they came to pick him up, and we videoed that. It's so cute. He's a great horse, so I'm happy for him. Groot's back. Butter's sucking on Carl's ding dong, and it's just a whole disaster. Now Groot's
So
out
is
with
Butters alone right now? Because
No, Butters is out with Groot, and
Groot's not going to put up with this crap.
Well, Groot's not putting up with it, and then finally Duke has warmed up enough to be out with them as well. So
Okay.
we've got
And
Duke
neither one of
and
them is going to let that happen. So
Duke won't let him within 20 feet.
No.
He's like, he runs away. He runs away from the baby. But so it's fine. But there you go. That's the update on all the horses. Ace is still on vacation. Fat Boy Miles is getting worked several days a week. And then I've got the kissing spine therapy horse, and then the race horse who's got one more week here while I've been working on getting him fit and everything. So that's where I'm at, and it's hot and it sucks.
yeah, it's kind of
hot.
Yeah, it's hot everywhere this year.
Yep.
Well, I have a couple of world records that have happened this year that I want to tell you about. But first,
Should these have been in weird news? Should we save these, or is this okay? It's not super weird.
no, these aren't super weird.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But first, do you wonder why your horse may resist, buck, trip, refuse jumps, or show restricted movement? Have you tried endless solutions to uncover the cause? The answer might be right in front of you. Saddle fit issues often manifest in ways you might never have considered. Schlese saddles are carefully designed to match the biomechanics of your horse and the anatomy of the rider. They maximize shoulder freedom, avoid negative pressure points, and sit precisely in the ideal saddle support area. Plus, they are fully adjustable to accommodate your horse's changing shape or your evolving needs. This allows your horse to move freely and comfortably while giving you the optimal balance and support you're looking for. Understand how your saddle fits and what can be done if it doesn't is essential to your horse's health, comfort, and performance. Book your appointment today at Schlese.com. That's SCHLEESE.com. And we'll put a link to that in our show notes. So there were a couple horse-related Guinness World Records this year. The one
These are all new.
yeah, the one I'm throwing shade on because I just don't believe it. But the first one is a lady that's been on our show a couple of times. Do you remember when we talked about whirls? We had a late author on that wrote a book about whirls, and we had her on to explain whirls and the different meanings of whirls.
I don't think I was here that day, but I do remember you telling me.
Yeah,
that.
and then there was a whole conversation with our listeners about whirls. Well, this is the same lady. Her name is Megan Reinman, and she now has the record with her horse Rusty for the most tricks performed by a horse in 3 minutes. That's right. That's a record. Rusty performed an impressive 33 distinct tricks in just 3 minutes. Only one trick was disqualified due to stepping off a teeter-totter prematurely, so the official count stands at 33. They included a spin, a stay, a fist bump, as well as complex feats like playing the piano, painting, and waving a flag. So the record was officially recognized in June of 2025. So
That's how my dog does tricks, right? So I'll be like, okay, sit. And she lays down, rolls over, so frantically does every trick to get the cookie. Is
Yes.
that kind of what happened?
I don't know. I'm trying to get Megan on. She's, as I said, she's been on a couple times before. So I'm going to try and get Megan on to talk about how she got the world record and how that works. Do you have to contact them ahead of time? You know, what happens? What's the process? The second one is the oldest living horse currently. And this, I just thought it would be older. Apparently right now, as verified in 2024 in November, and apparently staying that way in 2025, is, I don't know how you say that. Echo Ket is the oldest living horse at 36 years old and 193 days. Does that seem low to you? It's a purebred Arabian mare from the United States, by the way. I thought it would have been higher than that.
Well, they're saying current.
Yeah, but
I mean,
still, there's no horse over 36?
I don't remember anybody calling me asking,
Yeah, exactly.
do I have any older horses?
I mean, we had 2 ponies that lived to over 40, but, you know, this is a horse that's different. I don't know. I just found that one, I kind of doubted it. I got to believe there's a horse older than that right now.
Well, you know, the people to ask, the people listening to this podcast.
Yeah, does anybody have a one over 36? Let us know. We'll put you in for a Guinness World Record. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like, so Duke doesn't have papers, but he's super old. Like, he's
Yeah, and I'm sure they're picky
around
about the papers and the
33.
whole proving the date of birth and all that stuff. I'm sure they are picky. Probably some Heinz 57 horses out there that are over that age. We just don't know.
So anybody wanting to take Echo Cat's space on the pedestal of oldest horse?
Yeah, if you have proof, let us know, and we'll do this together. We'll get a Guinness World Book record together. Let us know. You can write to me, Glenn at horseradionetwork.com. There's a property that came up for sale. We'd like to talk about these occasionally. So this one is in Chesapeake City, Maryland, where my brother used to live for about 20 years. He lived there. It's beautiful. It's on the Panhandle out there in Maryland, along the Chesapeake Bay. It's just a beautiful place. It's flat as flat could be. And there's a barn there that's for sale. Go to the link and look at the pictures while I'm describing this, Jamie. All right?
Okay.
How about a 45,000 square foot indoor show barn? How about 510 acres? How about a glass enclosed observation area that includes a complete commercial kitchen and 2 bars?
Oh my God, that indoor is the most beautiful thing I've ever
Isn't
seen.
it? Yeah, the main house is a 9,000 square foot Gregorian manor and blends classic style with modern comforts. It's a really cool looking house.
I'm sorry, you cannot put hay in that hayloft. It is too pretty.
I thought the same thing when I saw the hayloft. I was like, they're going to put hay up there? That'd get it dirty. The ceilings in this barn are just... the wood used in this barn must have cost $5 million just for the wood.
Staircase in the barn looks as fancy as a staircase you would see, like, you know, the part of the Titanic at the very end when they're like walking up the stairs and she sees Jack. That's reminiscent of the staircase that you're looking at in this barn.
The stalls. I don't know if you got to the place where the stalls are, the concrete block ones, but it's just, it looks like something that would be in Saudi Arabia, actually. It is something else. This place is incredible. I mean, the barn's incredible. The house is incredible. The tack room. Did you see the tack room?
Oh my God. It's amazing.
The tack room must have room
How
for...
many billions of dollars is this?
Okay, well, we'll get to that. Let me finish. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
So they also have a heated indoor pool that's housed in a timber-framed pavilion, so you can swim year-round because, you know...
I mean, where else would you have your indoor pool than a timber-framed pavilion?
Even better yet, it's protected by a conservation easement, so all 500 acres are preserved. They're never going to be developed. It has 10 miles of fencing. A 6-horse equisizer or Eurosizer, the one they push them around, I think. 31 stalls in one barn and 15 stalls in the other barn. And when I say stalls, you could live and sleep in these. I mean, this is just gorgeous. It's just unbelievable. So on the coast of Maryland, you know, along the water, actually, so it's not too far from the water. What would you have guessed for this place? And I mean, it is incredible. And the woodwork in here is just like something out of a mansion.
Well, I will tell you that I just saw a 9-acre property south of me in the kind of the middle of nowhere that has a covered arena and like it's kind of set up to be a breeding barn. And it was not that impressive. And they wanted $2 million. So this has got to be $15 million.
You can get this for the low price of $29.8 million.
Oh, dear God. What is going on? That's crazy.
You know, that house is 9,000 square feet, but it's listed as a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. You think it would be 12-bedroom, 12-bath, you know, for...
Big old rooms.
Yeah, it must be. But, I mean, this is one of the prettier barns we've ever seen.
As I'm looking at it, it popped up for me to sign up for the newsletter associated with it. Should I do that?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be on their list. You'll be the first one they call. This is one of those places where to see it, they do your credit report first.
Yeah.
Check your balances before you even go out. It's very cool. So
there is a list of pop-ups on the bottom of other places. The first one is in Maryland. That's $15 million. Then an $8 million one in New Jersey, and Nebraska's 7.7. And then, I can't have any of these.
There's a vineyard in New Jersey for 6.5 million.
Oh, let's get that one.
Yeah, we can make it. Jennifer we lived in a place where the next door was a orchard, and it was oranges, and it was like a mile-long thing of rows of oranges. She still loved to ride in there.
This is a fun website. Oh, my God. Horseproperties.net.
If you want to dream.
Wow.
Horseproperties.net. Check it out. That'll waste a couple hours just checking out these places. All right, I'll put a link to that in our show notes too. Before we get to that girl stories that our auditors have, I wanted to mention that I did a poll quick because one of the that girl stories involved running out of gas. And we've talked about the fact that we think that horse girls run out of gas more than the general populace. And I thought, I'm going to do a poll. We're going to see. And we've already had 120 votes. So that's pretty good representation. So I have never run out of gas is at 57%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
42% I've run out of gas. And then 1% I've run out of gas pulling the trailer, which I thought was the ultimate. So you would probably, I'm going to guess that you're going to be in the I have run out of gas.
Okay. Well, I'm actually in one of the categories, and it is the last category. I ran out of
you're
gas.
The 1%?
Yes, but I have an explanation that my D-bag ex-boyfriend, my gas tank didn't work, and I had a Dodge Ram stick shift, and the gas tank always said it was full. And so you never knew. So I would do mathematically like how soon I needed to go. And I mean, I don't have time to run out of gas. Like I don't have time for that. So my tank is always, if I get down to halfway, it's getting full because like I can't. It's too stressful. I have enough stress. I don't need that kind of stress. But I was driving with my D-bag ex-boyfriend, and we were going from Atlanta down to Ocala, delivering a horse because I've had a billion jobs. And I was like shipping horses. So I get in the car and we're driving down and he's like, oh, you're fine. I'm like, no, I need to find a gas station. He's like, you're fine. I've done the math. You're fine. We can make it to Ocala. We're fine. And I was like, I really think we need gas. And I've got this horse in the trailer that's going down to a hospital in Ocala for surgery. And I'm driving down and I run out of gas in a diesel. And he was like, why didn't you get gas? And I'm like, I'm going to murder you. I would never have run out of gas, much less gas in the horse trailer if he wasn't like constantly like, we're fine. And he was one of those like super gaslighty kind of guys where you're just like, you start to believe what they say. Like it was very toxic. So at any rate, that's the only time I've run out of gas, knock on wood, because I am one of those people that I can't. It's too stressful. What about you? Which person are you?
We also had it's funny you say that. It was, and there was a lot of comments about their gas indicator not working, a gas gauge not working. Well, we also had a Dodge Ram that the gas gauge didn't work. I don't know. Was that a thing back then that none of them worked?
I think there was a couple years of it getting stuck. It was a problem.
Ours was always at about a quarter tank. So you were constantly looking at it thinking you were running out of gas. So yeah, we also had to keep track of mileage, and I have never run out of gas because I'm one of those that it gets to a quarter tank, I get really nervous. I got to put gas in it. Jennifer, on the other hand, will run it till it says 1 mile.
Jennifer is one of those people that constantly tries to wean their car off gas.
Yes, exactly. If I don't stop, it doesn't need it.
Now, I've been broken off where I'm like, I've been putting like 86 cents of gas, like, I mean, I've been to the point where like, I don't have any money, but I need gas. So,
yeah, in the old days, we'd have the $2 you dug out of somewhere to put $2 of gas in it.
Yep.
That was when gas was a little cheaper, though. $2 actually bought you some gas. Yeah, you bought a couple gallons, not just half a gallon with that. There was one on here, and I won't say her name because I don't have permission, but she said, this is one of our listeners, she said, fun fact, Hank Williams III, which I think is Hank Williams Jr.'s son,
yes,
picked me up from the side of the road after I ran out of gas on the freeway, and he bought my gas. So she at least had a cool story to tell.
He never called.
Yeah. There was whole bunches of stories of people running out of gas and how it happened. Diesels are the ones you don't want to run out of because you got to prime that sucker. I mean,
it's a problem. And unfortunately, I had the spray bottle and we got it done. But like, you run out of gas on the side of the road with the horse and the trailer on the side of the freeway, you just would rather die.
Yeah,
like, it's just
I
the
can
worst.
see that. I can see that. All right, let's do some That Girl moments. We do these once a month.
I don't wanna be that girl, that girl, that girl.
What are we talking about here, Jamie?
Well, what that girl is those moments where you're like, you actually, to be fair, you don't know you're that girl until later. And you think about it, or somebody tells you, oh my God, you were that girl. Because I'm that girl. Like I've mentioned it already today, that I was that girl when I am able to call the vet and tell them something that's happening at my farm and they've never seen it. I don't want to be that girl. So that's
Baby Butters was that girl.
Yeah, right. Well, Carl was that girl. But that's the thing about being that girl is you don't know you're that girl until afterwards. And so, yeah, this is a whole. It's a section of our life where you can't help it. It just happens and you don't know about it until you don't realize it until later. So that girl is you've done something and so these are the tales of stories of where you're that girl. But again, you don't know it till later. But Callie says, and this
is where I got the idea right here.
Yeah. I ran out of gas in my workplace parking lot and the gas station is half a mile down the road and I drive right by it every single day.
That's embarrassing.
Yes, that counts, Katie. That counts.
That's embarrassing in your parking lot of the work. Because then you got to tell somebody at work, right? Because you need somebody to take you to the gas station.
It's the phone call of shame,
yes.
Like the walk of shame.
Yes.
Yeah, the walk of shame. Oh, it's
and
the
nobody
worst.
wants to tell their spouse they ran out of gas either. That's the other thing.
No.
Are you
reading the next one? Or
Christy said, I backed into my barn door with the tractor after I ran over a chunk of wood with the lawnmower. I grounded myself from the tractor for a few days. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
How did you what does backing into the barn door have to do with running over a chunk of wood?
I think there were two separate incidents with the tractor.
Oh, so she didn't back into the barn door because of the wood.
No, I think two separate incidents, but at that point, she said, I better quit. And Christy, as your horse husband also said, you better quit. Yeah.
And Christy, just so you know, you're braver than me because I won't even drive the tractor because I think it's terrifying. It's terrifying.
True. You still don't drive the tractor.
I still don't drive the tractor. Like, I really wish I could put out round bales and I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's just, I can't. I'm afraid that tractor is going to flip over. Did I tell you why I'm afraid of tractors,
It hasn't flipped over yet, has it?
Here's the thing. I went to equine management school at the Kentucky Horse Park when I was 18 years old, okay? And every morning, Margie Stickney, who was our instructor, would come in with a newspaper article about somebody dying on a tractor because it flipped over. And what she was trying to do was we had to drive the tractor to dump the manure. And what she was trying to do is educate us in the fact that tractor safety is important. But what it did tenfold was make me terrified of tractors.
Yeah, you'll get on a racehorse.
Don't care. That's different. Amanda says... Now, Amanda, I'm going to tell you something. Do you ever see the videos are called Fridays with Frank?
No.
So Fridays with Frank he's a police officer and he lives in Arizona, like kind of where I used to live. And he records his interactions on Fridays pulling people over. He's like a traffic cop. And there's people that he will pull over and he says some very, very like almost catchphrase type stuff. So I'm going to give you Frank's catchphrase after I read to you Amanda's thing. My car is a straight piped, so very loud Mustang. She says this is important to the story. I got stuck at a red light on a hill in the center of my small town in my manual car. I forgot to put it in first, so I ended up trying to do the hill start from third gear. And my car shuddered, tried to stall, and I revved it to the moon. Because that's what you do when you're trying to get it from the stalling. Rev it. And once I realized what was wrong, I quickly put it in first, dumped the clutch, and took off so loudly that everybody on the sidewalk was looking at me. Now, here's what Fridays with Frank will tell you, Officer Frank. He will tell you when he pulls people, walk up to the car and he's like, hey, citizen, do you know why I pulled you over? They're like, no. And he goes, first of all, I was attracted to looking at you because you have no muffler. And I would like you to know right now that everybody in your neighborhood hates you.
Yes.
Everybody hates you.
Yes.
So that attracted me to looking at you first. And then I noticed, you're speeding, your windows were too tinted, whatever it is. But Amanda, your neighbors hate you. Frank.
She
Officer Frank tells me that.
She did say hashtag locally hated. Yes, you are, Amanda. When we hear them go by here at the farm, I always look out the window and go, a-hole. So there you go. You're that person.
Amanda.
Yes.
Amanda, get a muffler.
Yeah.
For God's sake. You're going to get pulled over by the police more. That could have been a full month of board.
You know what?
I mean?
Amanda's
Like,
car is probably
saddle.
red, too. And red cars always get pulled over more. It's probably a
Amanda.
red Mustang. Yep.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. You need to have your own savings account for tickets.
Kim sent this one in. The world's shortest drive to scratch my new-to-me truck. My husband had tucked the truck next to the block wall to create space. I failed to account for the block pillar that was sticking out when I pulled forward all of 3 inches. Yeah, Ray doesn't like you anymore, Kimberly. You're never going to drive his truck again. But then he is the one that parked it so close to the block wall. So maybe it's his fault.
I would obviously say it's his fault, but it reminds me of the movie with David Spade and Tommy Boy, where Tommy Boy has the door open and he realizes he's got to reverse to the next gas pump and reverses back, and the door hits the pylon and pops off. And I'm like, yep, that's what you did. You're lucky. You're lucky you didn't back into that block pillar with the door open.
All of 3 inches.
Geraldine says, last night I went to meet my friend for happy hour, and I decided to take my truck instead of my new vehicle. Both are Toyotas. When I was leaving, I took out my keys, but damn, the door wasn't unlocking. I went to the other side because I thought maybe the lock was broken. Key went in, nothing, nada. I then looked at the key in my hand, and it was for the other vehicle. I had both keys in my purse. However, one has a key fob attached and the other one doesn't. Well, you know what? I did the thing where I drove out. My key was like close enough to my car that it started, and I drove down, thank God, just to the barn, and then got out, turned the car off, and then went to get back in.
It would
and
start again.
Why won't my car start? So Geraldine, I get it.
You could have went to the store, been 20 miles away, and not had a key.
It could have been way worse, girl.
I thought
way worse.
Doesn't it give you an indicator when it's too far from the key? Doesn't it start beeping?
Yeah, it should. It should. But I have this like shelving unit next to my car in the garage, and my purse was sitting on the shelf. And I don't know why it worked. I've tried to replicate it, and it won't happen.
Peggy said 20 years plus ago, my cousin and I went to the Chippendales. After the show, we were invited to go on stage and take pictures with them. I still have the pictures somewhere. While walking back, I tripped and fell down the stairs in front of the whole crowd and ruptured the joint capsule of my ankle. Ow. My coworkers died laughing when I walked in the door on crutches the next day.
See, this is why that girl's important, because you get to exercise these embarrassing moments and then we get to laugh at them. Oh my God.
Okay, that's as that girl as it gets.
You had to go to the hospital after the Chippendales show, basically.
Yes, cool. That's it. And tell the doctor how she broke her ankle.
Well, see, did they pull you up on stage and dance? No. Did they take you around? No, I just fell down the stairs. Oh my God, that's great, Peggy. Oh, Carrie says, I took my imported Westphalian Grand Prix dressage horse and made her do a beginner novice event because why not?
So I wrote to Carrie and said, how did you win? Because Carrie, you're the one that we used to hate. When we went to the beginner novice events and a Westphalian shows up when we had our thoroughbred that was barely broke. So, yes, everybody in that class hated you.
Carrie, you're basically the horse version of Amanda with the loud car.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. The Westphalian's the loud car. And I said, did you win? And she said, yes. So,
of course she did. It's funny. I had my big fancy warm blood demure that we competed forever. And we only could get through novice. And he would go out and get a freaking 12 in dressage. And people would be like, I can't believe you brought that horse here. And I'm like, you haven't seen him jump yet.
Yeah, wait till tomorrow.
Wait till tomorrow. It's fine. It all always evened out. They're like, oh, yeah. Okay.
I know Carrie, too. I say that with love, Carrie.
Sure. Everybody hates you. Katie said, on an endurance ride, I fell off my horse while he was standing, peeing. I leaned over to the left to make sure I leaned over to the left to make certain his pee was a good color.
It's important.
And Then the saddle started slipping. He thought he was being attacked from the side, so he went right. The saddle kept going, and I went off as my air vest popped. Which, I'm sorry, when the air vest popped, the horses really take off. It's like a big boom on their back. They said there was only 5 other riders to witness, thank goodness. I'm like, those 5 told 5, and those
Everybody
5 told 5 more.
at camp knew by the time she got back.
Knows. Everybody knows.
Everybody knew.
That's fantastic.
That's funny. Fell off while the horse is peeing. That's a first. Lori said, in the barn, I felt a plop of warm goop land on my back, meaning a chicken up in the rafters had just pooped on me. Ew! So I ripped off my blank shirt and go running towards the house. Hot summer day, so I'm not wearing a bra.
Oh.
Glance to my right, and to my horror, there is a state trooper parked at the end of my driveway. I certainly wasn't expecting him and not sure what he saw. I'm imagining him on his radio saying, Central, can you send me another unit? I think we have a 918, code for mental case. I am almost never have anybody in my driveway, so it was just bad timing. Yeah, I'd say it was. God, can you imagine her heart when she saw that?
First of all, good on you for not wearing a bra. Second of all, man, I've been there. Remember, I was peeing and there was the snake underneath me, and I ran running out with my pants around my ankles, and like Anna was out there. Yeah, it was a whole mess. Like, I get it, girl. Sometimes you just got to pull it off and go.
I think that was the most exciting thing that happened to that cop all week. It was the highlight of his week.
I mean, if you can't be naked on your own property,
That's
where
right.
can you be naked and freaking out?
That's right. That's right.
Amy said, I went to my annual physical. The nurse said, are you in any pain today? And I stare confused and go, are you expecting a baseline of 0? Yeah, it's true.
What is the baseline for horse people? About 40%?
I'm like, wait, hold on, let me move because I can't sit still like that for too long. Otherwise I can't stand up. Yeah. So no, how much pain, there was on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm like, well, what's 0?
0 used to be when you were about 10. That was 0. From 10 on, it's not 0 anymore.
I mean, they have like pictures of the pain scale, and like 10 is like, I can't move. And like, I border at a 5.
Yeah, right. All the time.
All the time.
I was predicting 4 to 5 was where average horse person borders. See y'all. We have a full week of shows planned for you, so stay tuned.
All right, everybody. Spay, neuter, and geld.